Good day children, Sai Ram, and welcome back to our next lesson in civics, that is the Union Executive. In our previous lesson of civics, that is the second lesson of civics, what have we learned children? Yes, we have learned about the Union Legislature, okay, of the Parliament. In that lesson, what have we learned about? We have learned about the two houses, that is two houses of the Parliament, that is Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Okay, then we have learned about the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. We have learned about the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Then we have also learned how a bill, okay, is made into a law in the Parliament. The procedure of a bill becoming a law that we have learned in our previous lesson. Okay, now in this lesson we will learn something new about the Union Executive. We are finished with the Union Legislature. Now let's learn about the Union Executive. This is the introduction part, that what we have already learned about, that is Union Legislature, including the structure and the functions of the Parliament. Okay, I told you what have we learned about, that is the two houses. Structure here means the two houses of the Parliament. Okay, the working of the legislature, then the functions of the Parliament we have learned about. Now in this lesson we are going to study about the Union Executive. Now the Union government means the central government. Okay, Union government means the central government, and following are the constituents of the Union government. Now what is included in this Union government? At the top is the president. Okay, under the president there are two bodies, that is the legislature and the executive. What comes under legislature? Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. What comes under executive? Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. So this becomes the constituents of the Union government. And what is Union government? Union government means the central government. Okay, the government which is at the center, which looks after the full country, that is called as Union government. Now I hope you all know what is the difference between a union government and a state government. Okay, when a government is related to a particular state, for example take Maharashtra state. Okay, if the state government is related only to Maharashtra, it is called as state government. But if the government is related to the full country, okay, then it comes under the union government. So here we are talking about is the union government, which is also called as the central government. Then we have also learned about the three organs of the state. Which are the three organs of the state, children? One is legislature, second is executive, and the third one is judiciary. In the previous lesson we have learned about the legislature. Now we are going to learn about is the executive. But as you all know, executive is also the part of the legislature. Okay, and is responsible for the legislature, that is the people, those who are looking after the welfare of the people. Okay, executive is a part of the legislature and is responsible also for the legislature. Now let's see what is actually this executive. Okay, we are just going to get an answer for all this question over here. Who is included in executive? Who are the people in the executive? What are the constitutional provisions relating to executive? And the third one is, what is the process of policy making for public welfare? The answer to all these questions we are going to see in this lesson. Now as you all know, if you talk about India's Union Executive, what is it comprising of? India's Union Executive is comprising of President at the top, under the President, Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. So these three people, that is the President, Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers, together forms the Union Executive. Okay, it comprises of the Union Executive. Okay, so what is the Union Executive comprised of? It is comprised of President, Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. Okay children, now let's learn about this Union Executives. Okay, the first one is president. So we'll start with the president first. Okay, now you can see the list of all presidents of India. Now I hope children you all remember we have done the formative also on this. Okay, I had told you to make a list of all the presidents since independence. Okay, and the tenure for how many years they were the president. That also you all have done. Okay, okay, so you all must be knowing all this presidents of India. Okay, right from Rajendra Prasad from 1950 to 1962 and till the present one. Who is our present president children? Yes, Ramnath Kovind. Okay, so you all must be remembering all these presidents. So these are the list of all presidents of India. Okay children, now let's learn about our president. What is the work? Okay, what is the qualification needed for the president to for the person to become a president? Now, according to the provisions that are given in the constitution, okay, the president is the supreme head of the state. Okay, as it is given in our constitution, the president is the supreme head of the state, and whatever office the president is holding, that is having the highest honor and prestige. Okay, and his honor and his prestige in the country itself represents the Republic of India. Okay, so if the president is having a highest honor and prestige, that means he is representing the Republic of India. Okay, so president is the supreme head of the state according to the constitution. Okay, and whatever office he is holding, that is the highest honor of holding office and prestige. Okay, why? Because it is representing the Republic of India. Now, the government of India carries out all its functions in the name of the president. Okay, in our previous lesson we have seen, without the consent of the president, even a bill cannot become a law. Okay, that itself shows that whatever work the government carries out, it is fully under the name of the president. Now, if you see, all executive powers of the state lies in the hands of the president only. Okay, it is fully given to the president by the constitution. Okay, so we can say the ultimate executive powers of India lies in the hands of the president. But if you see in reality it is something else only. In reality, the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers run the government. Okay, although the executive powers are in the hand of president, but then also he is not running the government. In his name, the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers, they run the government. Although the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers again and again they have to go and meet the president. Okay, ask him about the decisions what they are taking, about how to run and what is going on. Okay, all has to be reported to the president. But then also in reality, the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers run the government. So we can say the president. What is the post of the president then? What is the president? The president is just a nominal and constitutional head. Okay, all the executive powers, that is to run the government, is in the hands of the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. But here, what is the president then? The president is having the nominal and constitutional powers under him. Okay, now as the president is a nominal and constitutional head, okay, the Prime Minister is the executive head. Okay, so here Prime Minister is the executive head while the president is the nominal and constitutional head. Okay children? Okay, next. Now let's talk about the election of the president. Now in this part we are going to see what are the qualifications needed for a person to become a president. Now as you all know, the president indirectly elected by the people. Why is he indirectly elected by the people? Because the common people do not directly give a vote to the president. For a person to become a president, direct votes are not done by the common people. Then who is doing the election? Here, the election takes place by the elected representatives. Okay, whoever the representatives which the people have selected, that only representatives elect our president. Okay, so president is elected by directly elected representatives of the central as well as the state legislatures. Okay, now the group of these parliamentarians and members of the state legislature together is called as electoral college. So directly we can say that the president is elected by the electoral college. Now who is this electoral college? The group of parliamentarians and members of the state legislature together form the electoral college. Now, for how many years a president is in office? The president is in office for 5 years. Okay, the tenure of the president is 5 years. Now, what are the qualifications needed for a person to become a president? The person contesting the presidential election, first of all, he should be a citizen of India. None of the NRI will come and become the president of India. Okay, it is always necessary that a person who is a totally, we can say, a citizen of India, that only person can contest this presidential election. Then the second qualification is he should have completed 35 years of age. Okay, then when he is when the person is taking an oath, suppose the president is elected now. Okay, after the election of the president, what happens? Whichever person becomes the president, he has to take an oath. Okay, while accepting the post, he has to take an oath. Oath here means a promise. What promise he has to take? To protect the constitution. Okay, and he has to also ensure that the full government is running according to the constitution only. Okay, so this is the oath the president has to take when he is accepting the post. Okay, so here what is the work of the president over here? To protect the constitution. Okay, and to see that the government is running according to the constitution only. Because he is having the ultimate power is given by the constitution to the president. The president cannot behave as he wants. He has to totally protect the constitution and has to ensure that the government is running according to the constitution only. The president governs in accordance with the advice given by the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. So again and again the Prime Minister goes and meets the president. They advise each other. Okay, so the president governs in accordance with the advice given by the Prime Minister as well as the Council of Ministers. Now, if by chance, if the president is thinking of violating any of the law in the constitution, that cannot be done. Okay, if any act of the president is seen that it is violating the constitution, that means it is going against the constitution, then the parliament has the full authority to remove the president from his post. Okay, the parliament has the full authority to remove the president from his post. Okay, and this process is called as impeachment. Okay, what is this process called as? Impeachment, that is removal of the president from his post. Now, this impeachment work, any one house can lay the charge of violation. It is not necessary that both the houses should go together. Any one house also is laying the charge of violation on the president. Okay, then an investigation can be done by the other house. If one house is laying the charge, the other house can do the investigation. Why the law from the constitution is violated by the president. Okay, a proper investigation is taking place. Okay, and the resolution has to be passed by the special majority, that is 2/3 of both houses of parliament, that we don't want this president anymore. Then only the president can be removed from his post. So this is the full procedure for removal of president from his office if he is violating the rules and regulations of the constitution. Okay children, I hope you all have understood till here. Okay, that's all for today. The remaining part of the lesson we'll do in the next lecture. Till then, thank you children.